Hello, and welcome to episode 18 of The Legal Scoop, our webinar series here at LOMAD, where we discuss recent notable wins that our attorneys or even our staff have had in the past month. I'm Brendan Shannon. I'm an associate attorney with the law office most of the day, and I'm joined today by my colleague, Vicki Buehler, who's going to discuss a recent win she had involving fraud based on basically a misrepresentation of one's medical condition. So to start off, Vicki, why don't you say hello?
Hi.
Thank you for being here today. And if you could just give us basically the bullet point details of your case.
Yeah, absolutely. So we had a claimant with a neck and back injury. We litigated on degree of disability. We got her treating doctor to concede that she was not totally disabled. And one of the primary points was that she did not have any kind of radicular complaints in either her arms or her legs. And so right after we completed testimony and submitted our memos, she went to see a different doctor and suddenly was complaining of severe radiculopathy, particularly down her arms, to the point that she allegedly couldn't even hold a cup in one of her hands. Obviously, this red flag for us.
Mhm.
So we set up an IME and we set up surveillance around the IME. And surveillance at her new home, which was in Florida. So both the IME and the surveillance were out of state.
Oh wow. Okay, so when you got this IME, was there any like change in her condition or anything like that was different from the medicals?
Yeah, so when she went to see the IME, she claimed that she couldn't even really move her head at all or her neck because the pain was so severe. So it was a really drastic change from the prior reports from both of her doctors, which obviously was just a further red flag for us.
Mhm. So backing up a little bit, when you got the surveillance, did you coordinate that with the IME or did you coordinate it with some other event that you knew was coming up?
We coordinated it with the IME in particular, but we also knew that she had just moved to Florida, and we were pretty sure we were going to get her setting up her house, which obviously would be pretty inconsistent with what she was telling the doctors. So that was part of what we were looking for. And that was a lot of what we got. We got a lot of great footage of her shopping, which was very inconsistent with what she was telling her doctor.
Wow. Okay. So correct me if I'm wrong. We now have both inconsistent reporting to her own doctors. And one doctor, she's telling she has no radiculopathy and getting reduced from total. The
Hmm.
other doctor, she's saying she's having severe symptoms of radiculopathy, the type of symptoms you would expect to develop over a fairly long period of time with someone who has very significant injuries to the spine.
Exactly. And
And
here it developed in about a week.
wow.
Yes,
And she went to an IME and said that she couldn't do anything because her radiculopathy was so bad.
exactly.
And then at the same time, we have surveillance showing that's not true.
Exactly.
So I think, like, for anyone watching this, one of the most important things to learn from this case is that you want to get strategic surveillance. Would you agree?
I absolutely would because that is how we won this case.
Yeah. So what we mean by that is you target it around certain things. Now, the easiest example would be an IME. You say, let's get surveillance the day before, the day of, and the day after an IME. That's like a cost saving way of doing it. Um, Another thing you could do that Vicki had mentioned when we were talking about this beforehand is you could do social media investigation to see if there's any events coming up that might reveal like or that could precipitate someone doing more activity than they would let on to at a doctor's appointment. Or like here, you knew that she had just moved and like you're expecting her to be doing things that go along with moving. The other thing that's kind of like a bonus to get out of this, which is don't be afraid to get surveillance out of state. I think it's safe to say that most people don't really think once they're out of state that like the New York State workers' comp system is watching them any longer, and you might be able to get some actually pretty fruitful surveillance. So with all that in mind, what ended up happening?
We won. We got a really good decision back from the judge where he made a very long period of mandatory penalties where he basically rescinded a ton of the awards that she'd gotten. And then he found a lifetime ban and disallowed her for any future benefits. She didn't even appeal. So it was a great outcome.
That's excellent. Well, congratulations, Vicky. That's a great win, and I think it's a really useful win because there's so many things you can learn from this. Like not just to be smart about how you get surveillance and not just to sort of get random surveillance whenever, but also knowing that like there's really no limitations to where we get surveillance. Most of the vendors we work with would be national or be able to refer us to somewhere in the state that someone might move to. So again, congrats on that win. Thank you for taking some time to speak to us today. If you want to see more content like this, you can subscribe below. We also have our other video series with Melanie Daly called The Daily Grind, and also Andrew Gould with our office does sort of limited series, talking about comp in a more fun and funny way. And then also you can become a LOMAD MVP by reaching out to anyone here at our office who can get you signed up for that. So we'll see you next month with some more wins.